Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot7025fm.com.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Cheryl Underwood, and you're tuned into the hottest news station on the planet, Hot 702.5.
Hi. Hey. What's up?
All your favorite artists.
Check it out.
Say my name.
DJ Khaled.
This is Mila J.
Bruno Mars.
On hot7025fm.com.
Tune in now on hot7025fm.com.
FM. If you are tuned in, my name is Jeaux King, and I am your new host of Laugh Therapy with Jeaux. I'm super excited to go on this journey with you guys. I have my beautiful, sexy co-host here with me. JD, go to introduce yourself, my love.
How you doing, guys? It's JD Sunshine on the mic.
So for those of you who are wondering what is Laugh Therapy, what's getting ready to happen here, we have a great conversation planned out for you guys on chivalry. What is it today? Does it exist? Who killed it? If it is dead, has it evolved? We're going to get into it, especially for our community, the difference in the generations, all of that. We want to break it down. We want your opinion. So make sure you guys are commenting so that we can see what you guys have to say about it, and we can make sure that we're engaging with you guys as well. Also, we have one of my great friends here, and Mr. Funny, part-time famous himself, to give the male perspective of this particular subject. Everybody give a warm welcome to my friend Carlos Anthony.
Yeah, what's going on? How we doing today?
Mr. Part-time famous. Go ahead and, Carlos, tell them your social media. Where can they find you?
Social media, best way to find me is Carlos Anthony 2, the Roman numeral 2, on Facebook, or at Comedian Carlos on Instagram, Comedian Carlos A&T on TikTok, and Comedian Carlos Anthony on YouTube. Yeah, we got them all.
Yeah, he got them all. You can find him, okay?
You can find me.
You can find me, okay?
That's for sure.
Also, for me, myself, you can find me at I'm just Joe_King on Instagram, or Joe_King on TikTok. JD, go ahead and give them your handles, love.
My Instagram is JSDSunshine4, and my TikTok is JSDSunshine.
Yeah. So without further ado, I know y'all are as excited. I don't know if y'all are as excited actually about this topic as I am. Right. But I've been lit about this for about a week, and to get everyone's opinion. But Carlos, you are the man, and most people, when they're talking about chivalry, are speaking of the man to the woman.
Okay.
So I wanted to start with your opinion. In your words, what is chivalry?
Chivalry as a man is just being a stand-up guy. It's knowing how to treat a woman, how to respect her. I think that's the foundation of it all, is respect of a woman. And you know how to do that, then you know everything else kind of falls in line with that. That's opening doors, that's closing doors, that's making sure she's taken care of in the right way. That doesn't always mean, it does mean finances. Finance is a part of that, but that's just a little piece of it that, believe it or not, it's a lot that goes into that. So it's just being a kind man and knowing how to treat a woman respectfully.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Okay, Carlos.
y'all better find my boy.
Right. I think he's single, ladies. I think he's single.
We out these streets.
Not in the streets. What about you, JD? In your own words, what is chivalry?
So to me, chivalry has evolved. You know, chivalry started in medieval times, but it's definitely it's different today. So chivalry, to me, it's rooted in masculinity, but it also it's rooted in thoughtfulness and caring. So just to tack on to what Carlos was saying, it also includes when you're walking downstairs, you walk in front of your woman. Just in case she falls, you can catch her. Or if you're walking upstairs, you walk behind her. Just in case something happens. The old cliche, putting your coat.
My clumsy ass would fall up. I'm just being real.
Putting your coat over a puddle for a winter. I know we don't do that anymore. We just walk around the puddle. But you know, it's all rooted in that, and I think that's a good definition to me of chivalry.
Like, I want to speak to the whoever came up with that rule back in the day that said they have to lay their jackets down and nobody walked around the fucking puddle. I want to know
why are we not
who
walking
said
around.
that this was what we wanted. That's what I want to know. Who
You just
told y'all
gonna ruin
that?
your jacket, huh?
Yeah, like I could have.
Now we both cold.
Right.
I could have had the jacket on at least.
Exactly. It's raining and it's cold.
100%, and I agree with both of you. For me, chivalry is a character trait. I don't feel like I feel like you can teach certain things, but it does not make it chivalrous because you opened my door. It's the intention as well. I think. Things like opening the door and just treating someone with respect are all aligned with chivalry. And for people to say that chivalry is dead, I feel that they just stopped expecting it. And for the people who say chivalry died because of the women's movement, my question is, who in your life is worthy of chivalry? And I'll direct that first at you, JD, because Carlos answered first. So who in your life is
Smiling
worthy?
extra hard. Y'all see that? Yeah, she's smiling extra hard.
Who in your life would you say is worthy of the definition of chivalry that you just gave?
I'm going to be honest. It's anybody that I care about. And me just being a respectful person. So I'm going to open the door for anybody, whether it's a man or a woman. I don't know if that makes me chivalrous or not, but I'm just going to do that because I'm a caring and thoughtful person. So that is why I rooted my definition in that, is because I'm thoughtful. So obviously you. So if y'all don't know.
Just in case y'all know, Joe P is off the market.
She's not single.
Please off the market.
Don't get in nobody's inbox but Carlos's, okay?
Hey, temper yourself with mine. Let's be clear. Temper yourself with mine. Make sure that your shit is together.
Make sure
yeah.
that it adds up.
Right,
Okay,
yeah,
make sure it
please
aligns.
do.
We're going to check you if it's not. But yes, anyone in my life that I care about and, just random acts of kindness to me is worthy of being chivalrous too.
Okay. Carlos, who would you say as a male is worthy of being the recipient of you being chivalrous based on your definition of chivalry?
I think any woman is worthy of that. Now, whether she keeps it or not is the difference. So I think
say
it's
more things.
Spicy.
Yeah, say more things.
No, because it is. I mean, again, if we're going back to the question about what's chivalry, then you do that to everybody across the board unless they make you back it off. So I say every woman is worthy of chivalry because some of them have never even seen what it feels like.
I agree with that.
So you being the first man to do that for them, it could potentially change their aspect of how they move forward.
Now let me ask you this. Now, say you had a woman. Now he don't have a woman, y'all. Let's remember that. If you had a woman and she pissed you off to the highest festivity, you still opening doors?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they don't have nothing
Some
to do.
people petty.
Yeah.
I just had to get your perspective. Some people are petty.
Because that doesn't have anything to do with how I was raised. Like,
Bingo.
We
got
can be
Character trait, as I stated.
Bingo.
It's embedded in your character to where someone else's action should not stop you from being a chivalrous person.
Right.
You might still be looking at that person weirdly and you watch your energy around them. But if you open doors for everybody, you're still worthy of that. And the reason I asked that question, Carlos, is because in topics and conversations like this, when we're speaking about chivalry, people have a tendency, especially when it comes to women, to giving our worth to our title, if that makes sense. For example, I'm going to use the Sierra situation with this dress. We know Sierra is a wife. We know Sierra is a mother, but we also know that before Sierra was a wife and a mother, Sierra was Sierra.
Correct.
Right? Sierra was wearing her outfits, whatever that she wanted to wear before Russ came into the picture, before Future came into the Future Junior came into the picture, before her kids came into the picture. She is an individual first, right? Or she was an individual first. And the first thing that came out was how disrespectful it was for her to wear that dress as though she is not worthy of the titles of wife and mother anymore because of the outfit that she wears. People are so quick to chop down a woman's titles, chop down a woman's worth with her titles, when in reality, I feel that a lot of that is just based in patriarchy and people wanting to control what you can and cannot do. They feel entitled to your life. But I wanted to hear your opinion. Well, that's why I asked that question. Who is worthy of your chivalry based on the example that you gave, based on the definitions that you guys gave? Because I feel that that's definitely a topic that's worthy of discussion in today's society.
Very much so. And as far as Sierra's journey, I mean, again, to each his or her own, and you made up a great point, is she was doing that before.
Right.
It's not something new that she just broke out of the women. Somebody never saw it before. We've seen that before.
Facts.
So
Sierra been that beat. I don't understand.
She's been that. So I think the only people that really care about that are people who either wanted to, and I posted that the other day, I think the only dudes that cared about that are the dudes that wanted to be Russell Wilson.
Right.
So if you wanted to be Russell Wilson, you want to be in his position standing next to a woman of that caliber.
My wife could never.
Rooted in jealousy.
Rooted in jealousy.
Right.
Rooted in jealousy, because we
100%.
all want to be Russell that night, but in a good way.
Come on.
And to each his or her own. We don't know what the dynamic is in their relationship and what's going on. I'm sure Russell saw her walk out the house in that.
Right. That's what I said. Nobody buys a dress for that the same day. Like she just showed up on the carpet with that. There's a conversation that takes place. There's preparation that
I'm
takes
sure
place.
he zipped it up.
Maybe get that back from it.
Yeah. Go ahead and handle that, baby.
Right. And the things that people go through to try and justify the way that they tried to drag this woman down for following the theme of an award show that she was attending was absolutely crazy to me. And they picked her. Only her. DeWanda Wise had an outfit on similar. Kim Kardashian has worn. Oh, yes, and that woman is fine. Okay. Like, there were plenty,
I'm sorry,
there
y'all.
were
My
plenty
mama
of
listening.
beautiful women wearing similar gowns, but she's the one that they picked out because she's married to Russell Wilson, and you guys just love to pick on him.
Yeah, they love to make that dude.
They love to
call
make him
him
miserable.
the simp of the year.
Yes, and we're going to get into that as well. Being a single man yourself, right now, would you say that in the dating realm that chivalry is dead, or has it evolved? Do you feel that there are expectations for you to be chivalrous in the dating realm, or do you feel that you being a chivalrous guy gives you a step up?
I think it's evolved. For sure. I don't think it's dead. I think it's dead for those that don't want it anymore. And I say that from a perspective from a man and a woman. There are people who just feel like, hey, I don't need that, which is cool, do you. But I just think it's evolved to whatever her expectations or his expectations are of it in their current state in their life. So it's a different game right now. Everybody has different needs.
I agree. I feel like it's become more of an individualistic. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
More of like an individual thing.
Yeah.
Like I determine what chivalry is for me and give me this type of chivalry, which can make that really interesting as well. What do you think, JD? Would you say that chivalry has died or it's just evolved?
Oh, I definitely think it's evolved, right? Because the conversation we were having the other day about medieval times and, if someone kissed your sister and didn't marry your sister, y'all had to go to war. Somebody had to die. You got to go. You know what I'm saying?
Messed up with his sister's
he's kissing everybody right now.
You know what I'm saying? Your sister's down on 6th Street doing something we might not even know about. You know what I'm saying? I know.
That's what it is.
For me personally, yes, it is evolved. And, with the conversation around the whole thing about it dying, I agree with you guys. It's individualistic, if that's a word. Did we make that up?
I may have made that up.
That's all right.
Y'all tell it in the comments. Y'all engage with us in the comments. Please tell us.
Me if that's a word. If I made it up, I made it sound very intelligent.
You nailed that one. I went right along with it. I was like, that sounds like word.
I dressed it up very nicely. If it's not a word,
it sounded real good.
Thank you.
But as a society as a whole, I think that it's still a thing. But it's those few people who want to be, no, I can get my own door, type thing. Which that's your judge. I'm not hating on that.
For me, it's more of the reasoning of why people say, no, I can do my own thing, because they feel that it's rooted in feminism. And in actuality, chivalry was not rooted in only males. It was a knight thing, and women made those rules. Therefore, women were the people who were asking for knights to do the things that they were doing. We were kind of the seers, the keepers of it. So for you to now decide that you don't want it because you're a woman is weird, and it's actually a slap in the face of the women who work so hard to get men to do these kind of things. So you actually went backwards in trying to be progressive because you didn't know the history of what chivalry was. It was the only way we could get motherfuckers to get up and do stuff, if that makes sense, to be able to tell the difference between the good men and the ones who We're just men, if that
Right.
makes sense, back then. Based on the research that I've done, if you guys know something different, then definitely feel free to comment, engage with us for sure. But based on the research that I've done, we were definitely keepers when it came to chivalry. We were the rule makers. This is what makes you a knight. This is what makes you this. So for women to now say, you don't have to open my door because I'm a woman, because I'm able to do it myself, women fought for this. Like, women, we were the ones who made this a thing. When has a man ever, forgive me, Carlos, but when have men ever just taken the initiative to be thoughtful and kind to us as women? We have had to set standards. We have had to have conversations. We have had to say, I need, in order for any man to say, oh, she needs that. They're not mind readers, and they never have been. How do you think chivalry, the code of chivalry, was even created to help us, right? Because they weren't thinking of helping us at that time. They thought providing was all that was necessary. True. Okay. So that's my argument when it comes to chivalry. I don't think that it is dead. I do think that it has evolved, but I think in its evolution to what it is now, as far as people individually defining it, I think that it being so widespread and something that men aspired to be has died. I think that a lot of men aspiring to be that knight in shining armor for their women is slowly starting to die. Now it's, I did it, now what do I get for it? Is kind of what's happening in today's dating realm. I did this for you, now what do I get for it? Rather than I did this because I am who I am, and you see me for who I am because I did it. Does that make sense?
Very much so.
Okay. That was a lot.
I feel like I live like that.
Was that heavy?
No, but that's real. I mean,
Thank you, Shaky, for she said is it indeed an accurate term?
There she said, okay, so we
you.
confirmed.
Go ahead,
Thank
Shaky.
you.
Appreciate it. Shout out to the best.
Yeah, I'm a kind of piggyback on what you just said though. That's as a man, I think it definitely. I'm on the back end of this. I'm in my late 40s, so I have seen the change in young men and men my age as well. They're taking on that young man mentality. It is that. Well, what are you gonna do for me if I do this for you? And that's never. Again, I was raised differently. It was never taught to me that way. It's just you do this just because you are a man. This is what you're supposed to do.
Correct.
So yeah, I agree. It's that part is very interesting to me to see from this perspective on the male side.
What do y'all? Oh, where the comments go? What do y'all think? We're trying to see.
Oh, somebody said pick the right men.
Oh,
okay.
Spicy.
Yeah, I knew that was
All right, E. All right, E.
Yeah.
Well, in case you haven't caught on, E, we're in a lesbian relationship here, but okay, spicy. That is correct. I would agree. Well, actually, no, I wouldn't, because I am someone who has the expectations of chivalry. I am someone who holds a certain standard to how I will be treated, how I will be spoken to, how I will be with all of those things. And babe, you can feel free to correct me.
She does not vary from that at all.
You can
she
correct me
means
if I'm
every
wrong, but
single
when
syllable.
I expect, I appreciate my doors being opened. I'll stand here.
She ain't lying, y'all. She is
I
not
meant
lying.
it. The other day I was at a comedy show and I was the only female comic on the set. It's like 12 dudes and it's late, it's dark, it's raining outside. I don't have an umbrella and I'm waiting. I stood at the door and I was waiting on someone to walk me to my car, take off a jacket, something, sir, what's happening? And when everybody was like, oh, do you need are you getting ready to leave? We'll walk out with you. I was like, no. And I made it clear. I was like, no, not walk out with me. Someone is going to walk me to my car, right? And like, I could tell on all of their faces, it was kind of like, oh yeah. But also I was just amongst some good men as well. So they all just kind of smiled and they're like, we got you. Walks me to my car. And one of them that I call my big bro took his jacket off and just made sure I made it to my car. But those are certain, I deserve that. I am worthy. Like, I am deserving of being walked to my car, of having my door opened, of these things. And I see that some women, that's not your thing. That's not what you expect from your partner or from your brothers or from your uncles or things of that nature, and that's completely okay. But for me in my house, okay, so.
Also, I would say some women have never experienced it, so they can't make it an expectation.
Very true. Very true.
So I grew up in a household where it was me, my mom, and my sister. So I was the one holding the umbrella for them. That is why I have no issue with opening the door for men or women or anybody, because in my house that was
different.
that was my experience. I was taking care of them. So,
and just completely
I
different
can't
life
have those
experiences.
expectations when I didn't experience life that way.
Well, you can.
Well, yeah,
Well,
I
I
can
guess
in
you can.
adulthood.
You can.
It could be a little bit difficult to transition into that.
Yeah,
so I could
yeah,
see,
yeah,
I could
yeah.
see that.
I mean, but honestly, how would our relationship go if we both standing at the door waiting for the other person to open
They'll
it?
get somebody getting wet.
That's very
Both of y'all
true.
getting wet.
Because I too grew up in a house of women, but they were also excited. My aunt was just telling the story the other day. They were also excited about me being born because I was the first of my generation that I was catered to. So I was spoiled. So I was the one that they made big deals out of small things for. So even though I was still raised in a house of women, I was raised in a house of women that made sure I knew that I was supposed to be catered to.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So Carlos and Jay, I won't necessarily call it a game, but we're going to transition into chivalry versus simping because today's generation has made that a thing.
So much.
Simping, which I forgot what it stands for. It stood for
Don't.
what was it? All I remember is the MP stood for mediocre P for a
Really?
female.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I can't remember what the SI
Somebody
stood
know
for
what
now.
simping
Yeah,
means?
that-
Put it in
yeah,
the comments
Google
if you know
it.
what it means. Just Google it for me, Shaky. You got my back, right, bestie?
Michael B. Jordan is called a simp or a corny man, although he is as fine as wine. The man, well, actually, Killmonger is fine. Michael B. Jordan is cute. we just gonna put that out
Making
there.
sure you clarify it.
Babe, I got to disagree with you because if we ran into Michael B. Jordan, we got a boyfriend.
He's cute. Yes,
we
he's
got a
worthy
Y'all got
boyfriend.
Killmonger.
of that, but Killmonger
Oh, you got
is
Killmonger.
fine. But he's quoted saying his dating rules are always pick up the tab and she never touches a door. He says, as long as I'm alive, chivalry is not dead. What would you say about that statement?
100%.
You would agree with that?
Yeah, 100%.
As a male, what about you, JD?
Yeah, of course.
Of
I'm
course.
I'm agree with him every time.
But especially, I mean, again, he's living. Well, I think it should happen anyway. But you work within your financial realm. But at his level, he's speaking from a man at his level that's saying, "Shoot, man, yeah, if I got it, you got it."
Right,
and that's
100%.
that ain't nothing wrong with that.
100%. We have the top 5 simps listed online. Yes, I am going to give you.
Yo, this is actually
name.
on
Yes,
Google.
it's on Google. You can Google the top
it.
5 simps.
Y'all crazy.
Celebrity simps, and I will tell you who they are and why they are classified as simps, and you tell me whether you would classify that as chivalrous or
simping.
bro, you went a little
Okay.
overboard. Okay, so we're gonna start with your 5, Carlos. The first is Prince Harry, who gave up his title of Your Royal Highness to marry Meghan Markle, and moved to the United States. Would you consider that chivalrous or simping?
That's chivalrous. That's chivalrous at the highest degree.
He gave up an entire country. He gave up an entire
that's-
kingdom to say, nah, I'm good. Now, I could
Right.
see, this is the argument that I was making for the other side, saying I could see how as a townsperson or as someone who lives in that country who was
yeah.
thinking this was about to be your king and you were proud of that fact, he has been bred, raised, and groomed into being this position, and he chose love over his entire kingdom. I can see how they could feel some type of way. I don't see how we as Americans could feel some type of way toward him for choosing himself,
at all.
for choosing love.
Now, he better stay together. They better stay
They better stick that
You
out.
better ride that out.
You gotta
gotta
ride
work
that
that
thing out. You better sleep on the
Right,
couch.
right. Yeah, you got to ride that one all the way to the end.
Till the wheels fall
Right.
off, baby. Okay, ain't no divorce.
Right.
I'll go ahead and let you give your opinion on Prince Harry, JD.
Look, you know I dislike the term simping so much. Oh gosh, I don't know why we ever invented it. Because simping is, y'all want to equate it to being corny or it ain't tricking if you got it. Like, what is wrong with me doting on my woman and respecting her and loving her and courting her? What is
100%.
wrong with
Absolutely nothing.
Well, and again, these dudes ain't gonna like when I say this. That's a broke man's mentality. And I don't mean I mean that financially, and I mean that mentally.
Yes.
Like your thinking is broke when you don't want to care for the person that you're with. Like
And
it's
show
just
it
it's
off.
just that simple.
Yeah, so it definitely
So-
wasn't simping to me. I thought that was a great act of love. Like, babe, it's me and you against literally the
country,
world.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
And that's very true. Meghan Markle did not feel welcome there, and Prince Harry probably doesn't feel welcome here based on his family's history. You know, so to say I'm sacrificing where I'm comfortable to be where you are, where you're comfortable, I would say is definitely an act of chivalry. But what are
and
the,
now
the
we
comments
both
saying?
got to get 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Right. Right, because don't nobody here care about me being the
Start
Duchess
writing
and
them
nothing.
Yeah, no, we don't care, my boy. I see you, Vic. Yeah, you got to see that. You got to see that relationship all the way through.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no breaking up.
Being a simp and being corny are not one and the same. Okay.
Okay.
E. Curry, say more things. Why do you think being a simp and being corny are not one and the same?
Please explain.
Yeah, please explain.
Expound on that.
While she expounds on that, though, the next number 2 was Will Smith. And first of all, I just want to say this out loud. Y'all will never, ever, 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 ever in your life hear me speak ill about Will Smith. Okay?
Okay.
He is a legend. He is one of the greatest black actors of my generation, and there's nothing that he can do or say outside of in someone's life that would make me think that this man is
That's
not
right, Vic.
amazing.
I'll be corny all day when it comes to my woman.
But with that being
That's
said,
right.
100%, and that's exactly how you should feel. Will Smith, they listed both the Grammy slap, March 27th at 10:32 p.m.
They got the time down.
Oh, you haven't seen
You
that?
haven't seen Marlon
No.
Wayans' new
Special?
stand-up?
No, I have not
It's
seen
It's
it.
literally
called God Love
about-
Me. It's all about Will, Jada, and Chris Rock, and
The
it's
whole
amazing.
entire thing.
It is
I'm
amazing.
gonna watch it. I'm gonna
It
watch
is
it.
amazing.
I keep hearing about it.
Shout out to Marlon Wayans, guys. For those of us who did not tell you, I am a stand-up comedian, and so is Carlos. For those of you who are wondering why we all had a moment there, we are all stand-up comedians except
Right.
JD, who is a radio personality. Now, what were you saying, baby?
Oh, I was saying, Miss Jackson responded and said Chris Rock is a simp and corny. Hope that helps.
Oh, she trying to take us there.
I thought you was
Said
gonna
Chris
say Will, Chris Rock.
She trying to take
You
us
gotta
there.
keep going,
Yeah,
sis.
you gotta say more
Yeah, you
words.
gotta say more words, sis. Give us more.
But Will Smith is listed as number 2 simp for not only the slap, but for the Red Table interview where Jada interviewed him about her entanglement. Now, as a man...
Hold on.
As a man, Carlos, do you think that him allowing himself to be interviewed by his wife about his entanglement was him being chivalrous and understanding of her needs or whatever that was, or simping, and also with the slap for the Grammys? You can give 2 different answers.
I like Will Smith.
Love him.
He is a legend. His career is unrivaled in his world for what he's done. However, the acceptance. Well, let me rephrase this. The slapping of Chris Rock, and then the subsequent sitting at the table and having to literally listen to your wife talk to you about the man that she cheated with. That's an issue for me. That is a borderline simping issue for me because, one, we're not taking our public business out in these streets.
That's one thing.
And then 2, I can't get mad at the one person that indirectly said something about you when everybody else was talking about you, and I chose that opportunity to take it out on you, that one person. So that's the only issue I have with Will Smith. I think he could have handled that situation a lot better if he wanted to be chivalrous. Then you address that outside of the what is the Grammys, the Oscars? What's the Grammys? Which
It's
one
the
was
Grammys.
it? The Grammys? You address that outside of the Grammys with Chris Rock, personally.
Wait, was it the Grammys or the Oscars?
I think it was the
wanna say
Oscars. I think it was the Oscars.
Yeah,
The
I think it
Grammys
was
of
the Oscars.
music.
An
Yeah.
award show that
Yeah.
he still won an
Right.
award.
I was wrong. I had to correct it. I
He
was like,
slapped the
I'm
nigga
wrong.
and still got an
And
award.
he sure did. He sure did. So I think he could have handled that situation a lot better. And I sure as hell wouldn't have sat down across from my wife and let her talk to me about her entanglements. So that's a simp move to me. It's borderline simp move. But I need the clarification
I'll
on.
let you answer, JD.
Let me go ahead. Let me go ahead and
I
get
can feel
over
the
there.
energy. She
Yeah,
ready.
let
She
me
ready.
get
She
there.
ready. Go ahead, babe.
Okay, so I think, from my perspective, I think Will went on the show so she would have to verbally admit what she did. Because remember, before that, she never actually admitted to it. Because you remember there was a staple part in that conversation where he said, "So what happened?" That's where the entanglement word came from. So I think that was his whole point in going on the show was, I want the world to actually hear you physically say you cheated.
Especially since it had been rumored that they had an open marriage in the first place.
Yes, and there was a rumor that they had an
that's
open marriage.
That's always been a rumor. Correct.
I think that is where his whole root was in actually participating in the show in that manner. And yes, they're very public, especially with how the Red Table is structured. So I felt like that's why they wanted to be open with the conversation about it, because Red Table Talk blew up after that, didn't it? I mean, I was watching before that because I love Jada too, but that's neither here nor there. So I think, honestly, that's the whole reason why they went on there in the first place.
So how does that
had that conversation? So
what part of chivalry is are you calling that chivalrous?
I'm calling it neither. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay,
it's neither.
I agree.
I think he wanted that. All right, y'all see what she did.
Okay.
I think on what you were saying, Carlos, as far as you would never do that, I can see myself, because I do consider myself an open book, having a public conversation that way. The conversation would have definitely gone differently. I feel that both of them were trying to, I think both of them showed great restraint. I think Will showed great restraint. I had to adjust it too, yes. In that situation to Aaron, because I'm sure it has to be one of the most hurtful things to learn in your marriage with this woman that you love, and with a person that you watched grow up. Like, it's not like it was just she just picked some random celebrity. Like, this person has been good friends with your child for at least a decade. And what do you did what? That's a lot to have to work through. Yes, he's an adult, but is he an adult to us? At our level, right? So I would have to agree. I wouldn't think that it was chivalrous or simping. I think that it was just a really hard season for Will. If I'm being,
we'll go with that.
If I'm being honest, what did they say? Did they say it was simping or anything? Nobody gave an opinion.
Ms. Jackson said it had nothing to do with Jada.
Will slapping Chris?
Yeah.
I feel like Will, I'm a big Will fan. I've watched several interviews and whatnot. And my argument at that time was I have seen him tell Chris to stop talking about his family for years on end. Okay. Will Smith had a conversation with Chris Rock multiple times. It definitely
didn't start that night.
If you guys remember back, I don't remember what year it was, if it was 2017 and 2008 or 2012 and 2017 or something like that. In his comedy special, Chris Rock talked about Jada again. He talked about her wanting him to quit the Oscars or not to do it because of this, that, and other, and was dogging her name in that. Then he had another show. Then he had a radio interview where he was dragging her through the mud. And Will told her at that time, if you have some problem with me, man, talk to me. But leave my family out of it. He said something about, I don't remember if it was Jaden Smith. I think Jaden Smith wore a skirt or something like that at some point in time. And Chris Rock made a joke of it. And Will was like, hey, man, you've known my kids since they did Fresh Prince of Bel-Air together. He was on there. You've known me and my situation for quite some time. Why would you go after my family if you want to keep this between us as men? Okay. So I feel like after having a conversation man to man behind closed doors multiple times, and then you not only do it again, but you do it on my night. I'm about to win a freaking Oscar, bro. You do it on the biggest night of my life. I've been fighting for this. You've been making jokes about me fighting for this, right? I deserved an Oscar for Concussion. I deserved an Oscar for Ali. I deserved an Oscar for Pursuit of Happiness. I deserved an Oscar, right?
Go ahead, girl.
That's what I'm saying. I am a Will Smith fan. I will ride or die for Will Smith. On the biggest day of his life, he's been fighting for this. You get up there and instead of celebrating what's about to happen. You crack a joke about my wife, bro, after I already asked you to leave my family out of it. Like, I wouldn't have walked on stage and slapped him, but you got to see me when you put that mic down, bro.
That's why I said it would have been a melee in the back. Yeah, it would have been a melee in the back. Yeah, we just got to go. We had to go at it.
One of the jokes that Chris Rock made in his special, he said, all these other people talked about y'all's entanglement. I ain't said nothing. I actually checked on you. But you got up there and made this joke, and we're supposed to be really good friends. Enemies can't hurt your feelings.
Right.
Only the people closest to you can hurt your feelings.
I agree 100%.
So if that was some Joe Schmo making that joke up on the stage, we would have just had talked about that later. Right. But you my bro. We've been fam for 30 years.
Yeah, it's something deeper there.
Clearly that didn't start that day. Right, it's.
Oh, it's already refreshing. I can't see him over here.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, Will Smith. So I think we all are in agreement that was not chivalrous or simping. It was just a tough time to be Will Smith in that season. Mm-hmm. The next one was Robin Thicke. Robin Thicke is listed as a simp for crying on national television and asking for Paula not to divorce him.
Hey, that man wanted his woman.
It's not saying, right?
It's Paula Patton.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'd like to be some Paula Patton. I'm going to cry too. I'm going to shed them tears.
I probably cry too. Like, I'm not even.
That camera rolling.
Baby, please.
Camera go off. All right. Ooh, y'all think that wored?
Right. I'm going to call her real quick. I'm going to call her. Y'all think she saw it? Like, what?
But here's the thing. I'm going to say there's a good number of men that have done that. Mm-hmm. You just haven't done it publicly. Mm-hmm. So that's the only difference between Robin Thicke and a regular man.
And on the opposite side of that, as women, for the women who are like, oh, I was automatically turned off and this, that, and the other, you cannot ask for a man to be emotionally mature and be in tune with your emotions and then criticize the way that he shows his own. Mm-hmm. That's not how life works. You don't get to tell him how to show his emotions or when to show his emotions. He is an emotional being just as we are, right? So if you want your man to be emotionally mature, you have to be mature enough to deal with your man's emotions.
And then just on the base level of it, how many women want their man to write them a song and beg for them back? Right. And just beg them.
Right. Like you don't remember that nigga you was crying over, man.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
no apartment.
Meanwhile, you letting your nigga drop you off at work while he ride around in your car. And this man wrote her a whole song begging for her back. Right. It's not simping. It's called too little, too late. That is what that is. I agree.
There you go.
Because I feel like using the term simp is as though you are saying that the person that they're doing all of this for is unworthy of receiving that. Yes. Because for you to say Russell Wilson is a simp for allowing Ciara to wear that dress, what made her unworthy of him supporting her wearing her dress to the Oscars? Like, would y'all have felt better if he didn't show up? Like, y'all would have felt better if he would have just left. Like, I don't understand why was she not worthy of love and support in that moment? When you say Will Smith is a simp for whatever, if you say Prince Harry is a simp, what makes Meghan Markle unworthy of him choosing her? What makes, who's next? Oh, Barack Obama. And I was actually mad at Google for this. I was very upset with Google for this because you also will not hear me trash my president. He's still my president. Barack Obama would forego having an umbrella if it were raining or if it was too sunny outside or anything like that, so that Michelle Obama could have the umbrella, and he would often risk his suit, his hair, all of that, and walk ahead of them while security stayed back with Michelle to make sure her hair and everything, she looked good, and he would step out with rain on his suit. He didn't care. And he's considered a simp for doing things like that when he's the president. Air Force One is for him. The security is for him. Michelle wouldn't have had any of those things if it weren't for him, are the quotes. But he made her the priority for their employees. In your opinion, Carlos, is that chivalrous or simping?
That's chivalrous. That man is married to that woman for how many years now?
I don't even know.
They've been together for a long time. They've been together.
We shouldn't question anything they do because they figured it out. They figured out what we all trying to figure out right now. They have it figured out.
I'm beginning to wonder who wrote this list.
Me too. I was mad at
because
Google.
I think it has everything to do with, again, what some man or woman would not do. You've made that decision to not do that in your life. And that's why you said, I'm going to make a list about everybody that's doing it because I don't like it.
Yeah, because you made a decision not to be chivalrous.
Do your thing then. Let's see how that's working out for you.
100%. 100%. And then lastly, the last one was Russell Wilson. It wasn't for the dress, though. Russell Wilson hired the chef from Sierra's favorite sushi restaurant to surprise her at their home with private sushi lessons with her favorite sushi for her birthday. Flew the sous chef out from a different place from wherever they were.
Is that not an amazing idea?
Is that right? That's 100% thoughtful. And half of us would break our necks for a man to want to even desire to do that for us. Y'all still trying to get Tyrone to put his clothes in the dirty laundry bin, right? But he's considered a simp for that. Would you consider that chivalrous and thoughtful or simping?
Chivalrous. That man made $32 million.
Exactly, Kaylin. Exactly, Kaylin.
$32 million is what he made last year. Yes, I'm flying in whatever shelf you need.
Exactly.
On any given day, we good.
And it's Sierra, bro. Y'all saying she not worth it?
But that's, again, I think it does. I think we're starting to get to the point that it is rooted in is she worth it? And is she worth it to you? So women have to start looking at men from the perspective of, if he's not doing just those basic things for you, do you think that you're worth it for him?
That's a very suitable question.
That's what you have to start asking yourself, because some things should just be basics.
100%. Because to me, if you don't do those things, I'm asking if you're okay. Are you mad at me? Are you what's going on? Because, what did you just say, Carlos? Am I worth it? I don't know how to explain. If it's not done for me, I automatically assume you're mad at me or you don't like me like that.
Bro, she's not lying.
You're mad at me or you don't like me like that. Like, you're not fucking with me today? What's going on? Because especially if you've done it several times before and then today you just maybe you forgot, but I'ma still ask, like, are you okay? Because I don't want this to become the norm either, right? I don't want overlooking it or not remembering it to become the norm either. So what do they say? How do y'all feel about chivalry in today's in your life? When do you use simp? What would you say is the difference between simping and being corny? Or is it just individually, do you feel that you define that yourself in the specific men that you date? Or have you bought into this simping mindset that a man is supposed to be just strong and cold, right? Because that's what I feel like is the alternative.
I'm sitting here really trying to wrap my mind.
Are they trying to take us back to the 50s where they just went to work and expected dinner and didn't take women on dates? Yeah,
but even then, and back in those days, y'all got dressed up. We got dressed up in suits and dresses, and men still took their women out to the juke joint, and that's the stuff that was going on. So now you really got me thinking. Now what makes a man showing you that he cares for you him a simp? Like, what's the difference? Where do we draw the line between, oh yes, he's sweet, and oh no, that's corny? It's a very fine line.
That?
It's a very fine line. But then I have to ask women the question it goes back to, what do you women really want?
Oh, they not going on dates or dressing up? I'm sorry, Chantel.
Chantel, I just saw that pop through this way. It's funny because when I am out and we do these shows and you see these dates showing up, the women are dressed to the nines. They dressed up, and then you see the dude in shorts and a t-shirt. You like, come on, bro. Like you want to match your woman's fly? Like, come on. Like he just got finished playing basketball. And she looking like she going to the Grammys.
Yeah.
Come on. Step your game up.
Women who call men simps for being chivalrous should go to therapy and just address their childhood traumas.
Agreed.
Ooh, a word. Okay, Miss Jackson, a word.
That's a thing. I would agree with that to a certain extent. I think people should go to therapy, period. Because I feel like therapy gives you a release of things you didn't even know that you needed. I've released so much in therapy of past things that I didn't even know I needed healing from, right? I was like, I thought I moved past that, and that's where I learned there's a difference between moving on and healing. Right? There's a big difference between saying, I'm over that, and actually going through the feelings that are associated with it. I'm going to leave y'all with that little gem. Because I'm not trying to, it is laugh therapy, though. That might be the gem that y'all take, because it is therapy. So, Carlos, what would you say, in your opinion, is the most chivalrous thing that you've ever done? And in your opinion, what would you say is something that you considered chivalry maybe when you were younger, that as an adult male, you're like, I'm not doing that anymore?
What's the most chivalrous thing I've done?
In your opinion.
Just be me.
Just be you?
Yeah.
He said, I exist in chivalry, okay?
I mean, because again, everything that I am, is rooted in what my father taught me. And so when I think of the most chivalrous thing I've done, it's just the everyday things of just making sure the women in my circle, whether in my presence, feel like they're in the presence of a man.
Do you think that chivalry is something a father is supposed to teach a son?
Very much so. I got a son out here right now, and that's what we talk about all the time. And it's something that I want him to learn. He don't see me running women in and out of my house. He hasn't seen me with a bunch of women in my entire life, in his entire life, I should say. So it's something that has to be rooted in it started with me, and then it goes on to someone else because my father taught me. So I think if I have to say, that's the most chivalrous thing I've done. What was the second part to that?
What would you say is something that you thought was chivalrous maybe in your younger years, and now you're like, I'm not doing that anymore. That I did way too much.
Paying too many bills. I mean, without the foundation of reciprocation, and I don't mean that my expectation is that if I'm giving you something, you got to give me something, but just give me the basics. Just respect, communication, honesty. Those things is what I expect in return for me just being the man that you need me to be. That's it. So, when I say bills, I mean I've definitely done that in my lifetime. I was married at one point. I'm paying all the bills, and I'm not getting anything in return. And you're in the house, and it's like. So I'm very cautious now as to how I move forward, if I'm going to move forward with a lady, and for the long term, that she understands that if I'm going to do all of this, then I expect for you to do the baseline of what I expect a woman to do.
And I think that brings us into, I want to get JD's opinion on this as well, but that brings me to a video that I just saw maybe a couple days ago of a man, and he recorded the conversation with his wife this time because he was frustrated that he pays all the bills, and he came home and there was no food. He was like, you've been doing this for 2-3 months. You haven't cooked anything. You haven't cleaned anything. I come home from work. I'm paying all of the bills. The least that I could expect is a home-cooked meal. And her response was, that's what you're supposed to do.
Ooh,
as the
I've
man.
heard that.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to provide. You're supposed to provide and protect. That's what a man does. And his response, I don't know if it stunned her, but I was waiting on an answer too, because he then turned and he said, well, what are you supposed to do?
Yes.
And I think that's something that
100%.
needs to be discussed as well, because I'm one of those women that don't like being told what I'm supposed to do. But also, like, as women, what do we feel we are supposed to do? Because we seem to know and understand collectively as women what our men are supposed to do. And we're quick to say, you're supposed to, as a man, do this. You're supposed to, as a man, provide that. But as women, what do we feel we are supposed to do for a man who does what he is supposed to do? What's our role, if that makes sense? That should just be, as you said, the basics. In your opinion, what do you think is for a woman that you would date, are the basics? Because he ain't telling y'all how you live your life.
Y'all do you. Again, the basics are reciprocate the love that I'm giving you, the respect, the honesty, the communication, and everything else kind of just falls into place when y'all know your roles. I expect a woman to be a woman. And and I ain't looking for you to come in. I'm not coming in every single day and where's my meal should be ready at 6:00 and it should be hot and it should be, I'm not that type of dude. To each his or her own. But I do expect that if I am going to go out here and bust my ass and bring home all the bacon and make all the money to pay all the bills, the least I can do is come home to a clean house. Like, I shouldn't have to come home and then clean again, or clean because you sitting around all day watching television. Come on now. That don't make sense. And I hope that doesn't sound mannish, but again,
No,
it has to be
it's all
something
individualized.
Yeah, it has to be
It's
something-
what you
your
expect, and you
expectation
find
of your
somebody
woman.
with
So
your
if anyone
that's in
in these
alignment with
comments
you.
thinks that that's not something you can live up to, stay out his inbox.
Yeah.
As we said, he's
it's
single.
totally-
Y'all heard Carlos, and
You
that's
heard the expectation.
But
Yeah.
you heard what I just
But
said.
right, he said what he said.
say it with some bass in your voice,
So don't
my
hop in
man.
his inbox
Listen.
trying to change shit. He said what he said.
And
I'm
he
very
meant that.
particular right now, especially at this point in my life. I'm very, very particular about what I move
As you
forward.
deserve to be, because you're worthy of having the things that you deserve or that you feel you are deserving, as everyone else is. So I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation on chivalry. We're looking forward to reading all of your comments and knowing exactly where you guys stood on it. I believe that conversation went a lot faster. Yeah, that hour went by fast,
Quick.
y'all. And thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
We do have ad and sponsorship slots available for Laugh Therapy. You can send that to Joe K. You guys see how to spell my name. It should be on the screen. Joe K at hot7025fm.com. You can send in your inquiries for how much an ad will be, for playing your music, for anything of that nature. I do hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. Baby, tell them one more time where to find you on Instagram.
You can find me on JSD Sunshine 4 on Instagram, and it's JSD just on TikTok.
You can find me at I'm Just Joe _King on Instagram and Joe _King on TikTok. Carlos, let them know where to find you.
Listen, I'm going to just give you this one now. Just parttimefamous.com. It has everything. Parttimefamous.com. It has all my social media sites. And I want to give a shout out to both of y'all. Y'all got a dope show going. This is the first one. So I appreciate it. I'm honored to be on this first one.
No,
So,
thank you.
you.
We
As soon as I
appreciate
thought-
your
yeah.
perspective.
I was
Yes.
like, Carlos will be perfect for this. I was super excited to have you. I was so glad that you said
no,
yes.
I
but you
appreciate y'all, man.
said yes almost immediately. Let me see. I'm trying to read the comments. Roll out and sweats. That's crazy. I'll act all the way right for someone who pays everything. I'm saying, because bills be kicking my ass too. I ain't even gonna hold y'all. They be coming for my neck every month. And Carlos, didn't you just post it? Seem like they come around every 3 days instead of every 30?
bills coming around in 3 days now.
Yeah,
Shit,
like
this is
every
ridiculous. Like enough is enough.
It's
I
another
just
one.
paid this.
And another one. Thank you guys, family and friends who tuned in. We will be here every Thursday at 4 Pacific time, 6 Central, and 7 Eastern. And you can catch us here at Laugh Therapy with Joe. Thank you guys so much.